Kane there. So to kick things off, Kenny, please can you share your screen? Yeah, thank you, thank you. So like I said, we have incredible guests in the house. We have Adrian and Louis, and we'll be talking about the high value consultant and how to elevate your US game. If this is your first time joining us, next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide. Yeah. This is your first time joining us. Kenny, slow down a bit. Can you go to the join us slide? Thank you. So, if this is your first time joining us, we are known as the Lagos Tableau User Group. So, we are dedicated to building a supportive and inclusive community for Tableau enthusiasts in Lagos and also Nigeria at large. Our mission is to connect Tableau users of all skill levels, from beginners to experts, fostering an environment where members can share knowledge, network, and grow their data visualization skills. Also, the Lagos TUG is committed to promoting data driven decision making and showcasing the talent and innovation within the local Tableau community. You can scan the QR code to join in on our LinkedIn and our Twitter page. Moving on, we have the fellow leaders today. We have Omokende, we have myself, and we have Bolahon. We also have Idris. To introduce them individually, Kenny works at is a data analyst at Oaks Intelligence, focused on helping individuals enhance their Tableau skills and navigate their data visualization journey. She's also a passionate Tableau lover with recognition as a Tableau social ambassador, co-winner of the Michael W. Christiani Community Leadership Visit Award 2025. And she has also been mentioned several times on the Weekly Data Farm blog, and also a one-time Visit of the Day nomination on Tableau Public. Kenny loves and enjoys watching movies, excluding horror, very definite, and finds relaxation through sightseeing. Moving over to our next leader, we have Bolahon Adebayo, and he is a senior data analyst at Salem FinTech. He has been using Tableau for about 4 years for both fun and work. He's a Tableau visionary, two times Tableau public ambassador, two times winner of the VZ's biggest growth and most notable newbie. He has also received 6 Visa of the Day nominations on Tableau Public. Outside Tableau, he loves Man City, the gym, and also Pinterest. Moving on to the next TUG leader, meet Maureen Okonkwo. Maureen is a Tableau analyst consultant at Swift Insights. Maureen is a Tableau Ambassador 2024, winner of the Notable Newbie Visa Award 2024, spoken at the Data Farm Europe, London, and also a 4-time Visa of the Day in Tableau Public. She finds fun exploring new culinary adventures and traveling. The last but not the least, we have Idris Akilaba. Idris works as a risk and compliance reporting professional at Flutterwave, specializing in Tableau, Power BI, and Ultras development. He's a 3 times Tableau public ambassador with over 4 years of experience as a seasoned data analyst and also a Tableau developer. Idris excels in using Python, Excel, SQL, Ultras, and Tableau to extract, analyze, and visualize complex data sets. He loves playing video games and binge watching Netflix in his free time. So we have a few ground rules, and we'll be sharing them with you today. So we have the chat section where you can interact, say hello, introduce yourself to the rest of the audience. We ask the Ask Question Q&A section where you can submit whatever question you have for our guest today. And the selected questions will be answered live at the end of the speaker session. We also have our Lagos TUG YouTube channel for those who want this to be pre-recorded. You can all find them in our YouTube channel known as Lagos TUG. So, to the main speakers of today, we have amazing Adrian, who is a Tableau solution architect at Smart Analytics Zone. And we have Louis Yu, who is a manager at Visual Analytics and 2K Games. So, to properly introduce who Adrian is, next slide, please. Okay, sorry about that. So, Adrian will be talking about commanding your career and how to become a high value Tableau consultant. Adrian is a Tableau visionary and multi year Tableau ambassador. I think we've lost count. Ranked as one of the top Tableau professionals in Canada. With over 20 years of experience in business intelligence and analytics, Adrian specializes in developing high impact Tableau dashboards, driving corporate BI adoption, and empowering organizations through data storytelling. As a leader in the analytics community and co leader of the Toronto Tableau User Group, Adrian is passionate about helping others unlock the full potential of data. Nobody is clapping. I'm not seeing hands here, please. He loves Tableau and fishing in his free time. We are so honored to have you, Adrian. You can unmute yourself and properly introduce yourself.
Hey, great to be here, guys. Yeah. I think I'm going to introduce myself even during my presentation. So I'm going to share my screen. Yeah. And yeah. So should I start sharing my screen? Yeah. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So as you know, this was my presentation for the I did the Tableau conference. I thought it's a kind of a really good idea to do something like that's really matter for the people, because in the end we are consultants and we are doing this and we try to earn money on this. Yeah. So as you know, like we always thank our community and especially like I can see like Nigerian community Lagos. It's like really huge in the world. So I can see you guys like all like bringing like this cool, crazy design. I mean, like you instantly you can see like this like pattern of like good taste in design, and it can almost like even like we're wearing clothes in. So yeah, and anyway, like I want to thank you all for this. And first of all, I want to thank you, Gospel. He's one of my best buddies from Nigeria. I saw him in the presentation. Outside of you guys, yeah. Okay, so this is like my topics today. So the idea is that I'm gonna bring you to this hiring process. I know it's a little bit like more Canadian US way of doing this. How you can use this, your personal branding, how to be the consultant, business dashboard toolkit. So basically everything is compacted in one place. And the goal of this presentation, make sure that you guys are more comfortable, are more like are not stressed, because people usually when they're looking for a job or they try to change the job or try to do something else, so they're like stressed. So the idea is that you will do some of these things and you'll get more confident in your future and in your job. Yeah. And also the idea is that I'm going to try to stop more on those like interesting stuff. The ones that are like written here, we'll share the presentation so you can have it and test it after. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But before that, I want you to imagine, that everyone's looking for you over the internet. Everyone's sending you emails and they want you to work for them, like, and your inbox is flooded. And I want you to imagine that you're in high demand. So all recruiters on the market is looking for you and they want you to work for specific companies or like for the biggest companies in your country. So imagine like at the working place, you're the way to go. You're the biggest professional, and everyone wants to get your attention and ask you questions. And even on the social media, so everyone's kind of thinking, "Oh my God, this guy is like a true leader of the community," and when he's gonna post something new, or they cannot wait to see one of your videos, one of your posts, one of your presentations, yeah. And as you can see, like I'm flowing through all these things like social media work and consultants in recruitment. So everyone's want a piece of you, and this is kind of the things that will bring you like more confident, to be more confident, or like, or even working remotely. As you know, guys, you're kind of far away from Canada, so you may be working remotely, yeah. And now, I would like now to imagine that you are the recruiter, and you want to hire me, like, and you're like the manager, so you like position yourself from the side of the company. And here I am. So I'm a Tableau visionary. My name is Adrian Zinovei. I'm a Tableau visionary, Tableau consultant. As you can see, a lot of things. And how I'm positioning myself, I'm positioning myself also on the Tableau public profile, like being on top 10 by favorites and followers, and still I'm in the Tableau community forums. I'm top 10 in the world by points, because I used to be a Tableau forum ambassador. And all this type of activities is kind of influencing my profile, influencing my skills, and it's positioning myself into all this like top things. So that's kind of one of the things that uh, recruiters want to see, like, or the hiring manager. So that's how your kind of application can be placed on top of the others. And also, if you know, like, I'm originated from a small country called Moldova, if anyone knows about it. So it's right next to Ukraine. And usually, like, people from our country, they speak like 2 or 3 languages, and they're like multi languages. So this one might kind of, and you can see, like, there's like a book about it, like how this I would say, like, the knowing multiple languages can influence the roots and brain, and make you like smarter. But I'm not gonna say that I'm like the smarter because of this, but I'm mostly, I can differentiate when people are saying Tableau in different pronunciations, like when and they're like, and that's how I learned how to say like Tableau, because I like Tableau, and all this like thing, like when this cat is like Tableau, like in French way, So at least this is helping me, like knowing multiple languages, yeah. Anyway, so because I'm doing this presentation for you guys today, so I was like thinking it's a good idea to do this with some statistics about the Canada immigrants and people who are residing here. And for example, like in 2023, so Canada approved like 17,000 permanent residents, and this is like in top 5 in Canada, and this is like quite huge. And also cumulatively from 2015 to 2023, the PRs were like 117,000 PR. So as you know, like there's like a lot of your people here, and like even in this community I'm living here, there's like a lot of people, and they're like, you can see like this like huge family traditions, and people itself, the education of the family, it's like really cool. And there's like some other like statistics, like even like if you're looking at this like PR and how it's growing during the years, and even the pandemic, no pandemic influence, and usually um, people who are coming like an express entry, provincial nominees, or like a business, or students. So this is a really big community here. And other statistics is that there's like 25K people talking Yoruba, and this is also like interesting stuff or like statistics, I would say. And I think it's I think like people or but like kind of the statistics they mentioned, like there's like 16,000 speakers of Yoruba, so it's kind of like one of the top non-official languages spoken in the country. So you guys have a place here in Canada. Okay, so I'm not hearing. Can you hear me well, guys? Everything's fine. Yeah.
Yes, 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 we can.
Okay, nice. Because I'm trying to do more like the inspiration and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so the hiring process. So usually how this is happening. So there's like a new contract on the market. People are getting emails, LinkedIn, or like through LinkedIn, someone is trying to contact you, or somebody's even calling you. I don't know. Here it's slightly different. So usually people are not answering phones. So usually you kind of try to get this email, like a voice message, for example, or transcriptions or the text. And usually what people they need to know from all this like pulse or like when somebody's reaching out is that they need to know the salary, the position, and job description. Of course, like there's like three main pillars, I would say, because first of all you want to get like how much this is going to cost. So if it's like low paid, so you might not even apply. What's the position? Because if it says something like Tableau, Power BI, and other stuff positioned together. So you're like, I'm not sure if I want to take it because like if you're working with a BI tool, so you're gonna be working with that specific BI tool, and you're gonna be like super like busy with that. So if you're working with multiple tools, means that you can kind of fishy position. And also, if you're getting contacted by one recruiter, so you might be getting contacted with many other recruiters. So basically, you need to wait sometimes. And of course, this one was a call I received from somebody from US. I think and so like they mentioned tubular technical team. So as you can see, like even the transcription could translate into like Tableau technical team lead or something. And this is like kind of from other side, it's kind of telling what is the kind of the approach, or like even the recruiters they don't really know how this job or like a skill or software is pronounced. And yeah, but if we're going back to this one, so imagine that how this process is working is like quite simple. So there's a company, they have a project, they want to hire specific people highly skilled for that project, because a project, like there's a budget, and what they're doing is they have a specific list of recruiters, and they're like, okay, find me this for this amount of money. And what they're doing is like they have a specific pool of people, or they try to get them. Usually, it's like going through LinkedIn or emails, and they're getting to you. So basically, sometimes you have to be steady and wait for multiple offers, because sometimes they might be tricky to give you like a lower rate. Yeah, so that's why you see like you kind of have multiple offers and you just select the best one. Yeah. And you can see like it's quite simple. So usually like, hey, like this is the position, something like short, are you available or looking for a change? One of 10 messages they might even share with this with you the rates, but sometimes they are like but mostly not. And they just really quick like, hey, share your resume. So basically you see like, but you also keep in mind that we're looking for rate, position, job description. So you're looking, if you don't have full disclosure on money, or what is this position about, what is the job description, because what I'm always like thinking is that a job description is that what are you going to do. So you might be, I was like bringing this kind of change and say like, okay, what is this about, like digging, for example? So you might be digging one row, or might be digging like 10 rows. So you need to know what's going to be the workload, because usually consultants are hired for so they could just benefit from their knowledge. Yeah. So you always need to have like a full understanding of that. Of course, in one or two messages, it's kind of impossible. So, and also make sure that you're not sending your resume to like one of the first recruiters, because they're like, oh, please send me your updated resume, and you're sending your resume, and they're like, and they could just say like, oh, you sent the resume, so kind of this is your acceptance of the position, or like they give you like a specific rate, and they're like, okay, then this person accepted because they sent the resume, so kind of you have the intention to and you can see like I try to list a lot of all these things. I think it's kind of related to every market, so as you know, like how recruiters are working. I'll show you like in the next stages, but also like at the beginning, they're trying to give you like less information. They are not sharing with you like budgets, money. Of course, like they cannot share that at the beginning, but also you can, if you have say like, okay, my intent is to accept something like that, but also I need more information, so give me something to work with, and I listed all those like kind of hidden thing that you can expect, but also you see like this is coming with experience. But that's why I was talking about in the beginning about the confidence in the stress, because people, if for example someone is looking for a job, they're going to be stressed and they're like, okay, yes, sure, yeah, I'm sending a resume. Okay, I'm accepting a lower rate, and in the end, nobody's kind of willing to take you as a specialist because they're like, okay, this guy's accepting something lower, so we're going to take somebody else who's pressuring his money. So kind of it's like a mind game, I would say. And this is kind of like how you can counter all these questions, like, hey, what's expectation? Oh no, show me your budget, show me what you have, or like you start bringing more and more kind of question back, and showing that in this case you are more of a professional, and you want to make sure that when you're going to start working, you have high skills and you're going to get more work done. Yeah. And of course, like I'm going to show the negotiation. I'm not sure because when I was doing this, I was like doing for the Tableau conference. So I was like, I thought like people from US are going to laugh at these lower rates. But now I'm showing to Nigeria, so I'm just disregard like the money amount. So I mean, like it's if it's higher or lower. But the thing is, usually how you're counting the money of a consultant. Yeah. So even Maureen, she was asking me about the how was my vacation. So vacation, usually if you're working in a consultant, you're not getting paid for that and you're not getting money. So that's why usually a consultant, you just have like 50 weeks rough a year plus 40 hours a week. So you have like this 2000. And if you have like, for example, $17 an hour, so you just do the math and you have this 140. So that's how, when somebody's kind of telling like, okay, the rate is 70 an hour, you're just doing instantly the math and you're like, okay, 140, maybe I could get more, maybe I could get less. If they're sharing this at the beginning, you shouldn't kind of accept it, you shouldn't negotiate. And you can see like if it's they offer 60, you're just like, okay, let me give you like 85, maybe they'll come back with 75. So it's also like on a real market, so you just kind of try to negotiate like, hey, no, I want more, because when you want more and you try to negotiate more, so they have this feeling that, okay, this guy is kind of putting a higher price on his skills, it's not just simple, like that, like, oh, he's accepting everything. And they're like, oh, he accepted that. Oh, okay, that's questionable. So that's why you want to do like more. So, and you see, like their game is to make sure that, and also like you're getting money paid through this recruiter companies. So basically, they're getting money from the company and paying you. So they're intermediate. So basically, sometimes you're bound by this contract and you don't know what's the rates and actual. So they might get like much more money from this. So for example, this is how it's working. So So let's assume that the client say like, okay, I want to hire a consultant with $100 an hour, but you're getting 70, yeah. So basically, their margin is like 30%. So, and imagine again doing the math, multiplying by 2,000, and if you have this like $30, so it's going to be multiplied by 2,000, it's going to be 60,000 a year. So just from you. So imagine if they have like 4 developers, there's like 240. So it's it's a lot. Yeah. This one I didn't put this intentionally now, so it was done before the conference. So, but again, this is like imagine that this recruiting company sometimes they might work like a few hours a month with you, just paying you money and do some timesheets and so on, and they're making tons of money. Yeah, and also like how you can negotiate a better rate. Sometimes I can say like, okay, what's the timeline? If it's 3 months, oh no, that's like too short. So I'm gonna ask you to give me like 20, 15 or 20% more even, or like, okay, show me all the packages. So what do you have in mind? So if it's a simple position, like, okay, what do you have in there? I want to check all this like vacations. I want to check, do I need to travel? Do I need to do that? Because you don't want to accept something that you don't know. And also, when you ask this type of questions, they see that you are kind of professional. So they're like, okay, this person is asking everything else. So it's organized. They need to know everything, and not just like blindly like, yes, I accept the position and go into this positions. Yeah. Okay. So and and again, like if you're looking at this with this recruiters, like there's always like still a risk, because imagine that you're kind of negotiating and you're just like, okay, I want this amount, and they're like, oh sure, okay, yeah, agree, we're gonna send this application at this amount. Yeah. But in fact, what they're doing is they are sending other application of other people with a lower amount and just holding yours, and you're just like, shoot, yeah, I'm not even sure if they applied or they just send this my application to these companies, because they're gonna say like, okay, we agree with your rate, we're sending, oh good, but in fact they are just stealing your application, and they're sending with lower rates in a view that the hiring manager will kind of accept that. So you can see like even sometimes you have to go in over these companies and try to reach out to some managers, like, and ask them, okay, hey, I'm in the process of application, so I'm the best on the market. So what's going on? I mean, like, have you seen my application? So I mean, like sometimes it takes guts, but of course, like you need to think like it's not like one or two applications. Yeah. Okay. So basically, the math, what's going on with this rates and salary, and how this recruiters are working, how they're making money, and how you're making money through them, and yeah, and you kind of how have all this list. Usually, it's going at the level of the um, kind of like the feeling, the guts, So you just know that, oh, okay, something is fishy or something is not fishy, but also you don't want to get into this position where you're working with a company and you just like find out that you're just getting robbed, and it's even worse. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the personal branding, and of course we're going to talk about skills, presence, and social media. It's going to be like really really quick. So usually when I'm in the Tableau world, I would say like I set some kind of like targets, like, okay, what is good to have, like, I don't know, like I just put like, okay, 100 dashboards. Is it good or not? Yeah, it's good. Sometimes I even like send people to my Tableau public profile, and also like if they see like you have like a huge amount of followers on social media, they also like it's a good presence. So it's kind of indicator of your kind of skills, and my advice in this case is like start now. So just don't wait, because this is like really hard to accomplish. Like a lot of followers, a lot of favorites, a lot of dashboards, and it's really time consuming. So it's growing really, really slow. So I put something like this, like in between like 50 to 30, 300 followers a month. If you have like tons of dashboards and bombarding it everyone, and even if you're posting a lot of social media, there's still like a lot of people. You're not getting that many followers as you think, yeah. So it's the idea is like start faster. Of course, like something that you can post is about like think from the perspective of what the hiring people will look for, and of course they're going to look for business dashboards and they're shiny dashboards, and they just go scroll down and see some nice dashboards and they're going to love it. This one, I think this was like a dashboard, but I think it's they start updating since February, and you can see like by country, you can see all those people who turned their button hire me. Like you have the hire me button, so make sure you're doing that. And after you can see, like you can check by the country where you positioned yourself. So it's also like a good place to see, like, okay, when you're doing somewhere just out of the line, like, okay, I'm top 10 in that city, maybe, like maybe a country. And this is again a good place to be. Of course, like for that, you need to update, turn on your hire me button, know all those dashboards. I think you've seen like I have one of those dashboards on my own where I'm tracking my followers as well. So they have all the stats in there, and also here like it's not like a thing that you're going to be doing like 10 dashboards a day and 50 posts a day and you're done, so it's like in time. So basically just think of this like as something like a non-negotiable. Okay, I'm going to do like 1-2 dashboards a month, or like five. I said like it's 5-10 posts a week, and usually what I'm doing is that I'm just trying to do like likes and comments on like 20 other people's posts, and after I'm posting one, and you're gonna be seeing that people who start liking it is those people who you like their content. So it's not something like I'm just gonna post and magic is gonna happen. Usually people don't really care about your posts, and it's like 1 in 100, I would say, like posts it's something valuable or something that people didn't see. And usually people are like too bored to read all of this. So just keep in mind that just make the right noise about I don't know, like in this case like Tableau, so they will see you. Even the recruiters, like, oh, this is the guy who's making a lot of friends in Tableau world. So and that's how they can be more sure that they can use your application for some jobs. Yeah. Okay, so the personal branding, so the skills. So I'm usually like seeing like all the stuff. Like I have this joke about the when a hacker is breaking into ATM and taking the money and with a laptop, and somebody's like, hey, well, does he need the laptop? They're like, but he's a hacker, So the same stuff here. So just try to focus on those specific and good skills, like and not like I can see like, oh, somebody's like posting that I have an Azure fundamentals, like, and like what does it have to do with the skills you're or like the position you're looking for, So that's why if you're into this business intelligence world, so make sure you're using some visual dashboards, best practices, and so on. Yeah. So the Tableau Consultant. So usually, what I'm doing is that you can see like the headline, on LinkedIn. I know like people, they try to put everything into that headline. So usually, if you're focused on one specific position, so it's better just to put it that way, because people, they're like, oh, okay, this guy, he has all those like things and skills, but also he's not afraid to put it on the headline, just Tableau Consultant, because otherwise, like, people, they think like, oh, these people are too hyped or scared to put like just one position, And also, I don't know, like from my experience, like open to work thing, it wasn't working for me and other people. Recruiters can benefit from that. They can trick you. Oh, okay, this guy is looking for a job, and also I see like it's not a really good idea. I think like 1 year ago and something, I like 1 year ago, yeah. So before getting this job, I think I put this open to work for 3 days. So, but the trick was that I was waiting for this answer from the recruiter, and I was like, okay, if on Monday I'm not getting the answer, I'm gonna post this. So I'm just putting like open to work, and this guy's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I don't care. You didn't give me answer. So it was like from my side, like, okay, if I'm putting open to work, so other company will reach out to me. So make sure you do your faster stuff. So there's like different tips and tricks. Of course, like so it's more like do some Tableau activity, renew your profile. Usually people just have the same photo, the same account, the same picture. See, like now I have a picture. I hope it's looking like me. Anyway, so the consultant. This is like it's really important. So even like when you got the job, like everyone's like getting stressed or like feeling a little bit lazy. They don't want to do that. And of course, like laziness is really direct correlation with the how smart is the person, but also sometimes you have to do it. So this is a picture I took it from like the biggest, the best mall in Toronto downtown, and it's amazing. Who I don't know, like who likes to go shopping, and but that's not the trick. The trick is that you can see like here on the third floor, that's the window. So this is the offices from this company. So I work there. So imagine that. So I'm sometimes when I'm just bored, I'm just looking out the window and see like how people who's having tons of money just go shopping, and we keep working. And of course, like some people think like that's how I start doing my job. But of course, you have to be really, really focused and try to do this. And of course, we're going to start with this like small tips and tricks, like the corporate laptop. Of course, I've seen like a lot of people, they're just using the personal email, and everything is in there, even like kids and applications and bank accounts. So no, if it's not like for the company, just forget it. So what I can use is just doing like Tableau Public and Tableau community forums. That's it. This is a really true story. So the thing is, I remember like this was like 6 years ago. So I was picking up a laptop, and one of these guys they saw me, and they're like, "Hey, what kind of developer are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a Tableau developer." And you should see the face of this guy. He was like, "Oh my god," and start smiling, and like, "Oh," I was like, it feels like it's not something serious, like, and I was like, come on, this is like serious stuff, yeah. Anyway, if you're going back to these companies, of course, like they are monitoring their laptops. If it's not a part of the job, forget it, don't do it. And also, imagine that if you're like a super talented consultant, so you're not going to be doing other stuff. Always keep in mind that these guys are like watching you. So now imagine that. So you got the laptop, and you have the access. You have an working space. Everything's cool. You're so excited. You're gonna be doing like new dashboards, so new designs, everything like amazing. Like, oh my god, dream come true. No, you might be doing like a new dashboards like 50% of your time. So that's it. Like 20% we're going to be doing tons of documentation and UAT back and forth, trying to do this business. 30% they might assign you doing some legacy workbooks, so all dashboard that's broken, and you should just start fixing them. And again, with this legacy workbooks, I think like I'm like one of the best expert in this one, is because I was huge on Tableau forums, community forums. So I was like answering questions and like seeing different things. And of course, like the biggest achievement, I think it was that I learned how to do like calculations, like different calculations on the fly. Plus, I learned how to read in between the lines, because people usually like, hey, I want to do this, and in the end, you're like, no, you want to do this, and they're like, oh my god, you're reading my mind. How do you do that? And of course, when you start quantify this timing spent on the forms, I was like, oh my god, that's like 50% of my technical skills, itself, like, because 10,000 hours, this is something legit, and I've seen like that's why people are failing at the trainings, because they start doing trainings and in a couple of weeks they forgot it, But if you keep doing this like hundreds of times, the same thing, so you keep getting this information, Okay, so we've got the new project, like amazing requirements. You have all this data. You're gonna apply best practices. You're gonna do the design. So, no, you're not gonna be doing that, because you're kind of like thinking like I'm gonna apply some cool stuff I've seen on the Tableau public. Yeah, no. Of course, it's gonna come again with those things like I want to export my tables. I want to see next. I don't want to see this fancy chart. People are still like living in this like old world, And sometimes you have to do this like mitigation in between them. And this is like it's like a real problem, because people are not really knowledgeable in this BI world, so sometimes you have to push. So sometimes I'm doing this trick of so I'm doing like 2 3 versions of the same specific dashboard, and like, hey, listen, what if we apply this and this and this and that, and we can visualize it differently. And sometimes even like I would say like, okay, if you select one of these 3 versions, which one do you like it, and explaining how it's working, and they're like, okay, this is cool, and they're selecting that, and like, okay, you selected, then this is you kind of you're putting that this is their idea, and of course like you can expect this, like, or like saying like, okay, the other departments are using this like fancy charts, let's increase the complexity here, let's do something fancy here. Okay, so the biggest secret, it's not a big secret, because it's I've seen like people who's like start doing dashboards straight, like, okay, I'm just have some data and just start building and pushing dashboards. Now, the biggest one is that you need to know how to work with this data sources, how you can work with this relationship, joins, blending, and so on. All this like things, how and what to use. That's really important. So you can focus on that as well. So I included here like 2 things. Like this is like legit for every business. Just filter the timeline. So make sure like if you're using like this year, last year, why you're bringing like 10 years of data, and which one? Oh, sorry, going back. And unused fields, like you have some text fields or like ID fields, code fields. You're not really using your calculations, or like on the dashboard, and hide those ones as well. And this will just increase the dashboard. So usually, this is my first trick when I'm coming to a company. Like, okay, why this dashboard is 500 megabytes? 10 minutes later, the dashboard is 30 megabytes or 20 megabytes, and it's like 5 times faster. And everyone's like, oh my God, what did you do? Like, nothing special. And so cover your access. This is really important. So all this like documentation, make sure you have it, have all the tickets, all the emails, everything is documented, everything's fine, because this is like a business world. Yeah. Okay. And also, like, if like you're working in a team, and usually like I know that person is good in this type, that person is always like late in meetings, that person is not doing documentation, that person is always like bad with the timeline. So see around you, and like who's the smartest, who's not the smartest, and you usually you don't want to be that guy that's like not performing well. So make sure that you're the good guy, so basically, if you see something that you don't really like or people don't like, so try to make sure that you're not showing that as well. Yeah. And of course, like, don't be lazy. Yeah, that's like the biggest treat, but also that's kind of what differentiates the consultant maybe from a permanent worker, because they're paid by the hour, or they are like highly paid, and they need to be super organized, never late, always taking notes, and all those small things and be proactive and always like subject matter expert. Yeah. I'm not sure about the time, but I'm gonna push it faster. Okay, so the business dashboard process. So I'm gonna show you like a few tips and tricks, just how we can start building business dashboards, especially when somebody's just giving you like just the data source and you don't have the design. Usually, like the companies, they might give you some hints on the design, but sometimes not. So this is like a really cool stuff. I'm using this pretty much often, and even if I have it in my mind and I know what to do and how to do it, sometimes I have to put it on one slide to show it to the business users and kind of show them that you know more and how we can do this. And usually it will be like who's the user persona, what's the goal of the dashboard, like some of the dashboard, what kind of activities you have, what's the reason, what kind of metrics, what kind of KPIs. And when you start putting everything in all those like small squares, you're gonna be getting the real direction where the dashboard is moving. So this is like an example. So you're like, for example, you as a sales manager have the goal to monitor employee and sales performance. And this one, I want to see sales, pricing, competition, cycles. And you can see straight away, you start getting those like small pieces of this one, of the dashboard. And again, this is a business dashboard. So it's not like one of those fancy. Of course, the fancy and design, of course, it should be because it's 2025 now. And you can see like monthly sale, average price. And again, you can see like you have monthly sales. So you have month and sales. So instantly you have a bar chart. Price. Okay, let me do something like a tree map or like like colored squares, and that's how you can evolve. Like, okay, sales by region. Can I do like a map? Can I do donuts? And this, like a few slides, a few examples, it can bring you tons of things. And even I'm using this mostly like, even if I have some direction from the business, I want this. But usually you can say like, okay, listen, when a Tableau developer is doing a dashboard, so usually you're learning a lot of about the businesses and the business process, and you're like, okay, I've done some dashboards. We can do even more in terms of interaction, in terms of other charts, so you can add and level up, spice. Okay, the gift was that on a Tableau public account, I placed one of those business dashboards template. Not much. You can check it after. So bring more to the table. So this was an interesting stuff because I'm always like saying that you should bring more, and even when you're going through this recruiting process, you can bring more by saying like, okay, I'm going to bring more. I'm going to bring more information. So of course, like a big part of this is that you always need to learn. Of course, it's not like spending money, guys. Just invest in yourself. So let's just get this straight. Again, picture was selected somewhere like back in February. All those like things like Tableau e-learning, next level Tableau, YouTube channels, and Coursera, all this Kaggle books and all these things you can get and even learn for free, and it's really, really simple and easy to acquire. This ones, if you have some kind of like a work this licensed stuff, sometimes companies, they can keep it this, so you can get these things and you can publish or post on LinkedIn if you get one of those badges. So badges are really good. Yeah. This one was that if you want to, like how they say, like if you want to be the best, learn from the best. Of course, like who's the best is Indy Cribble and his Tableau next level. It's really cool program. I know a lot of people who's like already quite experienced it, but they are still doing that because it's like it's not like a cheap one, but in terms of people who's working in the consultancy business, it's really cool. Extensions, of course, in the companies, you can say like, okay, listen, we can do this, or we can integrate some data, we can integrate some comments, we can integrate something else, we can do some cool, nice tables, you can use extensions. So basically, you need to be a subject matter expert and bring more to the table. So that's how you bring more, so of course, like, you need to learn all this, like things like REST APIs, vSQL. Of course, the simplest way is just to watch the trend lines and see what's new in Tableau and how we can get those tips and tricks, and also this is really helpful for you as a specialist, because if you know Tableau, you can learn all those, like, additional things. Yeah. Motion array. This one is like really, really helping me. You can see, like, all this picture I got it from here. I'm posting tons of, like, even small videos and icons that, like, have like thousands of icons here. So I can use this as like a monthly, yearly paid subscription, and can get tons of these materials. And sometimes it's good for the social media. Yeah. Okay, place here something. Of course, you need to know all this agent force. You see, like, Adrian force here. Um, you need to know all those things that the company is doing. Of course, that you might find a specific niche that might help you to work with, and be an expert. And of course, you can get ahead of the time and show it to the businesses that you know that, and you can implement. You can be, again, that subject matter expert. Of course, nice slides. Of course, yeah. So this one was a simplest one because it was at the time. So we're using the Tableau Pulse. So the easiest way is just to build some of this, like, metrics and just give it to the big bosses. They are super excited to see that on their phones, and that's how they can give it and say, like, take the decision to take Tableau. And of course, like you see, like, the big bosses, they like aggregated numbers and simple explanations. Okay, and just to almost like finalize, so this how this how the business is taking decision on what kind of BI tool to use. Yeah. And usually see, like, the business is looking at the dashboards, whatever it's built, and they're giving feedback. So positive feedback, yeah, they're fine. Negative feedback, they're not fine. And that's how they say, like, okay, we keep this tool, we're not keeping this tool. And after somebody's taking decision which tool to use. I mean, like, Tableau, Power BI, or other tools. And this is really dependent, because you, as a consultant, when you come into the company, you can say, okay, I can build dashboards, I can bring you tons of other stuff, APIs and extensions. I can bring you more. We can increase the design side so the business will like it more. We can increase the performance. And that's how you kind of change this thing, and you just say, okay, I'm not going to be a simple consultant, I'm going to be something more. And yeah, of course, like, yeah, that's what I described here. So you can not just sit and wait somebody's going to give you, like, the instructions. So you just need to look around, use your head, do more, and bring examples and try to show to the people that you are, like, the best. And that's how they will take decision to keep you and even to pay you more. Yeah. Okay. Of course, like, the context. So this is, like, really cool stuff. So adding yourself to the context, it means that you're always, like, adding more to the table. And when something is happening or a project is happening, everyone's going to think of you. Yeah. Okay. So together we can make more, and for the future of the companies and for the future of yourself. And one last thing, we will start the same with an empty blanket of worksheet in Tableau. Yeah, an empty one. So thank you so much. I think I took like a little bit more time from Luis, so sorry about that. But I want to thank you all, guys. Hope you found it a lot of useful information, and hope it's gonna help you at somehow. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Adrian. That was a lot of information. And also, as a consultant, there are a few questions I would love to ask. But for now, we have a question on the Q&A. Because of time, I will quickly read this. And You answer as fast as you can because all the time is fast spent, and we'll move over to Louis. So we have a question from Sam. Samuel asks, as consultants grow, sorry, as consultants grow more efficient experience, how do you shift from billing for time spent to billing for the value delivered? Imagine a task that once took 10 hours now takes just 3. If they continue billing by the hour, they earn less for delivering the same or even better value simply because they get more experienced and faster. So I'm curious, how have others navigated this shift? What pricing models or strategies have helped you ensure you speed and ensure your speed and expertise are rewarded, not penalized? I hope you got the question, Adrian.
Oh yeah, I got it. So basically, what's the how you're spending? Again, it's all depending on the end of the result. So how quality, the quality of the end. If we're talking about, for example, a project that's a dashboard, and somebody spent like 10 hours, somebody spent 3 hours. I'm pretty sure that somebody with more experience is going to build it in 3 hours, but the result is going to be totally different. You know. So here it's more like how you can build like the relationship with this company. Like I said, my time is bill you $100 an hour, and you again you're doing like one slide. Okay, say okay, the normal guy are gonna do in 10 hours. I'm gonna do in 3 hours. 3 hours is gonna be $300. 10 hours is gonna be I don't know like 600-700 for other people. So it's gonna be cheaper and better, and that's how you can get more projects from these guys. Yeah, and that's how you kind of say yeah. Of course, like everything is depending on the quality, and they will always like choose quality and price, and you're gonna deliver both. So yeah, of course, yeah, that's why you learn because you want to do it faster.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Adrian. Samuel, I hope that answers your question. So moving on, Kenny, can you share
But
your screen
any
quickly
questions in the chat?
so we can have a quick introduction for Louis? Kenny, are you there? All right, thank you. So guys, we have our second speaker and we have Louis Yu. Louis will be presenting another 10 hacks for better user experience. For a quick introduction, Louis is a part of the visual analytics team in 2K Games. He develops numerous dashboards through he develops numerous dashboards through to enable insights for many of their games catalog. Within the data farm community, he co-leads the Games Night Viz project as well as the Singapore Tableau User Group. Wow. His passion for the data visualization is augmented by his achievements as featured author and qualifying for top 15 in Iron Viz 2023. He's ever ready to give back to the community. He started Secrets of the Viz in YouTube to decipher the intricacies of the amazing Viz of the Day Awards. When he's not building dashboards, you can find him playing video games and taking coffee. Louis, it's so great to have you in our midst today. You can share your screen and give us a quick introduction as well.
Hi everyone. Thanks for the very sweet introduction. Adrian just threw me a very challenging time because now I have a shorter time to put everything together. So I take it as a challenge to myself as well. Hopefully I don't overrun by too much. But let me get started. So I just have 3 slides for you guys before I jump into the demo. So this is just a very quick primer of my credentials. So if you want to connect with me, there's a QR code over here, or you can visit the link tree over in the middle part. So I'm a visionary public ambassador, although I should take away the public now. I co-lead the Singapore Tableau User Group, Games Like This, and also Secrets of This. So on that, currently this month, we're running a new challenge for Games Like This, which is on the 3 retro video game characters, so Sonic, Zelda, and Mario. So if you're a fan of either three of them, feel free to do something fun or use one of our curated data sets. So we are looking forward to see what everyone comes up with. And then for Secrets of the Abyss, like Maureen said, this is a 10 to 20 minutes interview with authors in Tableau Public. So it's released on a weekly basis. And recently I've been trying to expand outside of Tableau Public. So I've invited experts from the industry, so UX experts, video game designers as well. So there will be quite a few new topics for everyone to learn from. But that's that. So let me just close this and I can jump straight into it. So this is the another hacks, 10 hacks to making your dashboards even better in terms of user experience. So this is a follow-up to the previous 10 hacks that I did, which is mostly about UI. So sorry, mostly about the calculations within Tableau, like how do you hack certain things. So this is more focused on the user experience itself. So before we start off, I think if you have been to Tableau conference this year or you've seen the keynote, the devs on stage, you know that rounded corners are coming as a feature, but there isn't a release date to that yet. So in the meantime, if you want to do rounded corners in Tableau, there are two ways you can go about it. You can either create an image in Figma or PowerPoint and import that as an image and kind of overlay your charts on top of it. The other way is actually utilizing this technique that Irene actually created called the annotation one. So to start off, this is kind of like a blank sheet. And you can see that there's actually nothing here. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you just double click and just do a double quote. And this just creates a empty string. So you can drop it on the text so that you have this canvas to play around with. So from here, what you want to do is you can right click on annotation. You can click on mark or area or point. It doesn't really matter. Let's just do area and just hit a space bar on it. And you can see now you have this little box happening over here. So you can go over and format it by right clicking it. And then here, what you want to do is maybe let's us put this a little bit more visible just for demo purposes. You can then do a very rounded. So there's an option for you to do that very rounded corners. Maybe yellow might not be a very good choice. Let's go with green. Yeah, green might be easier to see. And then what you want to do is you want to resize that. So you can do something like that, right? So you have one rounded box now, right? And if you want, you can go further and create another annotation layer as a shadow. So you can do the same thing. Just click on the space bar. And then you have this piece, right? So this one, what I'll do is I'll put this to green because this is the one, this is the one in front. And then this is the one behind. So I can do like a darker grayish thread on this. Can resize this a little bit. And then just put this one right in front. And then now you have something like a shadow effect, right? You can play around the position and everything, but eventually you get to something like this where you see there's this little shadowy effect around the rounded boxes. But this is essentially how you create that round box in Tableau natively. And you can see that all of this is just the containers itself. And the good thing about this is if we drag this over here, right? This being in Tableau, meaning that it would scale according to the size itself, right? So you see there's no pixelation that happened. If you do this as an image in Figma or PowerPoint, the image might get a little bit pixelated depending on when you kind of scale it up or down. So this is one way of ensuring that it doesn't get pixelated, right? So the second thing I want to go through is creating a toggle button, right? So toggle button, a very quick way of doing it is just ensure that you have a Boolean parameter. Where is my Boolean parameter? I think it is this one, right? So this is just a parameter of a Boolean type. So it's just true and false. And what you want to do, let me just grab this toggle button. Where is my... Oh, okay. So you can double click on the rows and just to minimum 0.0, right, just as a dummy value. And you can okay, don't have to duplicate it. You do it as a entire view, right? From here, what you want to do is you want to drag the text in front of it. So what you can do is that you can create a value. Where is my toggle text, right? So this is a calculation field that, oops, okay, if the toggle value, which is the parameter that we created, is true, right? So if you just do this, this actually returns 1, right? If it's equal to true, then I want to hide it. If not, I want to show show text, right? So you can drag this over as the text, right? And then you can just maybe just put it in the middle, reduce the size, reduce the opacity a little bit, right? And the size, right? For example, this one, just increase the size so it's visible. All right, the next thing you want to do is you drag the toggle value, the parameter, over here as the detail. All right, and what this does, it returns the current value that the parameter is set at. But this doesn't work as a button action because you're returning the same value. What you want to do is whenever I click on show, I want to return the value height. And when I click on height, it returns the inverse. And there's a quick way of doing it. Just double click on it and just put the text not in front of it. So this will always return the inverse of the value. So if we go over to the actions, right, and we can add a parameter action for this toggle button, you can then now set this back to the toggle value with the not value. So it would set the opposite value of what is currently in the parameter and set it back to it. So it works as a toggle. So if we click on this, you see now it shows height. Let me just put this to the color, right? So you can see. So click, right? Height, click, show, right? So this is a very quick way of utilizing that quick calculation over here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is when you have a kind of like a rolling calculation. So this is actually a rolling sum of the sales. But the thing is, sometimes the date range is very big, and I only want to see like the last 30 days. So you can have a calculation that, let's see, where is the date? Let me see, hold on. I need to group by folders, and there is a date. Yeah, over here. So you could put the order date over here as a range and put this at a last 30 days, right? But the problem with this is that, oops, I think because this ends at February, so maybe what I can do is that we can set it to last month, last 3 months or last 4 months. Let's see, 5 months. Oh, maybe 5 months still short. 7 months? This is fair. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, but generally what happens is that because this is only until December, right? So if we do that filter, let me just set to just 1 year, right? All right, you can see that now the value actually restarts. So this at the start of 1st of Jan is 1,004. At the end is 700,000, which is fine. But if we take away this, and you can see it actually from the last day of December in the first day, you see that it's actually around 1 million, right? But it doesn't show that in the, once you have this as a filter. So one way of doing this is actually creating a true or false statement. And you can do that by just creating a value of a filter. Let's see, where is that filter? Yeah, last 30 days. And this is very simple. So this is a parameter that is just true or false. So whether you want to see last 30 days. And then if the user chooses this, what we want to do is just ensure that we return that the order date is more than the last 30 days. So you need a maximum of your order dates, which would return the last day of December 2024. And then we just subtract 30 days from there, right? And then else true, meaning that it returns everything, right? This will only return true for the days that are of the past 30 days, right? So if we drag this over to the column, right, and you see, this is when the filter is not showing anything. But if it, this is actually flip, this should be shown. You can see that now there's two columns, right? You have the one that shows 30 days that starts from December, but it's still continuing the values over here, right? So from here, what you want to do is just click on hide false, and you have the actual value here that starts from 2 million, right? So if you show the entire thing, it still doesn't break that calculation, right? So that's one way of building, ensuring that you still have the right value when you introduce such a function for the users. The next one I want to show you is having dynamic periods. What I mean by dynamic periods is that when you could actually have a parameter that allow the users to actually change the, let's see, change the period axis over here. All right. So let's say you want to have the line chart show by days, by weeks, or by month. So how you would do that traditionally in Tableau is that you probably have to have 3 different line charts, and you just change the visibility of each of the line charts. But in actual fact, you can actually do everything within the same one. And how you do that is actually also creating a calculated field of a dynamic period. So this is using the parameter of the period axis. And if it's day, then I want to return the exact order date. If it's week, I want to truncate that order date by week. And if it's month, I truncate it by month. And with this new value, you can just drop this over here. Oops. Okay. So quick tip, if you drag it on the left click, Tableau always auto changes it to a year. So what you can do is you can right click and drag, and you can actually select the granularity of it. So I want to just use the first one, which is continuous. And now if we show the parameter, I can change this to days, I can change this to weeks, or I can just change this to month, and it will change accordingly with just one value. Now, the next one I want to show you is using sets as a filter. So what I mean by sets as filter is that when we have, for example, this, let's see, oops, the sales manager, all right. Sales manager, not sales manager, or regional manager. It's called regional manager, right? You can see that actually they have 4 different values in here, right? The problem with this is that if you put this as a quick filter, and even if you, let's say, only allow the user to see these 2 regional manager, if you show this filter, it actually still shows everything, right? This is actually not hidden from the user. So they can, even if you change this to multiple drop lists, they can see that the value still stays here. But sometimes you don't want your users to see whatever values that you have hidden, right? Because you hide them for a reason. So one way of doing this is actually, instead of using this as a filter, go ahead and create a set itself. So now with this set, I've only selected Fred and Roseanne. And I can use this set as a filter now, right? If I show this as a filter, you can see that I can only see Fred and Roseanne. So the other 2 that I've hidden will not show up as an option for the user. So this is one way of kind of cleaning up the user experience for your audience. And then the next one I want to show you as well is using a multiple filter by combining different sets. So what I mean by combining different sets is, all right, so over here, these are all your sales and quantity by your technology and the category and the subcategory. But I also have a coloring that I want to do for profit, right? So let's say I want to do profit flag, which is the, let me see, some, I can actually drag this over to color and just put this one, right? So this will always color the ones that are positive and negative, right? Blue and red is probably not the best color scheme that you can use, but just for demo purposes. So you can see that these three are positive in profit, right? These three are negative in profit, so they are having a loss actually. And what you can do with sets is that you can create multiple set. So for example, you can have the category that you selected, right? So this is what happens is you can actually have the category, right? Over here, right? And this actually just returns true if the user has only selected one category, right? So if the user doesn't select anything, it would still return a true. If it only selects one, it will only return that one. And then I have another set that actually just shows this. Right, this is the same thing as the sum profit more than zero, but I'm just using this as a flag. So I want to show profit or loss. This is through a parameter over here, right? Because I want the charts to reflect only the points that are either profit or loss, right? So I can put this over here, right? I can use this as a filter. I see that now it doesn't work in any way. And what we need to do is actually combine both of these sets together, right? So this, if you edit, this is actually combining the selected category, which is what we selected, and the profit and loss, right? And it's also, this is using a join condition. So only marks that appear in both of these sets, right? So you can combine as many sets as you want, but you have to do it sequentially. So now if we drop this over, you can see that the three loss have already disappeared because I'm actually only showing the profits, right? I can click on losses and it hides all of the profits and just show the losses. So this is how you build that interactivity for your users. Okay, the next one I want to show you is using combined dimensions. What I mean by combined dimensions is often in times we have multiple dimensions on your chart. So in this case, we have category and subcategory. But let's say if I want to let's say if example there is, let me just rename this to, can I rename this to tables as well? No, we can't, because you have it. So sometimes I might want to filter to labels, but I'm not too sure like which category it belongs to, and I might just fiddle around with it a little bit. Let me just drag the category and subcategory over here. Let me show you. Right. So for a user to kind of work through these two filters, let's say put it like this, they have actually two clicks that they need to do. They need to say, for example, I want to see only office supplies, and then now I want to see, this and this and this, or even just one of it, right? So there are actually two options that they need to select before they get to the view that they want. And how you can actually combine them is you have a parameter that actually combines them. So you have an overall value, you have furniture total, furniture separator, a delimiter, and then the subcategory. And you see the same thing happening for all of this, right? And you can use this as a filter itself. So currently it doesn't work because you can actually, you need to have that calculated field in order for you to filter that. But you can see that now you can create some formatting to allow the users to have a bit more readability in terms of your user experience. So furniture total, under furniture total, you have bookcase, chairs, furniture, and tables, which is what you see here. So instead of having these two filters, you can just have only one filters. The only downside is that this only allows you to select one at a time. But it really depends on what you are trying to bring across as a user experience, right? And then from here, what you want to do is, let me see, where is the combined category? This one. Right. So the combined category, this is the value, right? So I'm just I'm creating a new dimension that combines the category and the subcategory using the pipe sign, which is essentially the same thing as what you see in your parameter here, right? And then I want to go ahead and create a filter itself. So this actually just says if the combined category, which is your parameter, is overall, then I'll return true, which means that I want to return everything. Else, if it contains the word total, then I want to replace the parameter value total with an empty string. So it takes away that n totals number, n total text of the string, and I just use an equal sign to compare against the category. Else, if they selected one of the subcategories, then I'm just using the new adjusted dimension and just matching it to the combined category. So now if I put this over here and select true, you can see what I mean. So at appliances, this actually filters office supplies and appliances. If I go to office supplies total, it shows all of office supplies. If I show overall, it shows everything. All right, so that's one. The next one I want to go through is tooltips, right? So often in times tooltips, you want to add a bit more context for this. You can see that there's no color coding or whatnot in here, and it's a bit tricky to do color coding in the tooltips, right? There's no easy way. So if you color code everything like this entire thing to red, then it changes everything to red, right? There's no way of going around it. So let's say if I want to have a different color for profits and a different color for losses, right? So how I would do that is I want to create a flag first, right? So this flag is basically just saying that if the sum of the profit is more than 0, then I'll return the tax profit. If it's less than 0, then I return loss, right? So now I can actually go ahead and use this as a coloring, right? You can see that the ones that are in losses are in red, the ones that are in profit are in gray. But I want to also use this coloring in the tooltip itself. And how you do that is that you create 3 more different calculator fields, and it's just the same thing. So I'm just using the same profit flag that I created. If it's equals to profit, then I'll return the flag. If not, it returns a null value. The same thing for here, right? If it's a loss, then I return the profit flag. And then there is one more. Okay, so this one is a bit different. So this one, if it's a loss, then I break it down. I add an additional break line. So these are Unicodes that allow you to add additional break lines to your text itself. And I'll show you in a bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to color this. So I drag gray and red over to tooltip. And then now if I just put it right next to one another, let me just increase the size a little bit. Current status, example. And I just put this just next to one another. Then I just color this as red and put this as the black. If I hover over this one, you can see that it's black. If I hover over this, it colors as red. So this is one way of coloring the tooltip. You can add additional formatting like Unicode, the up arrow or the down arrow, or any other Unicodes that you want to add in as well. This one, let me just show you how it works, is that if it's a loss, then I want to have an additional line that appears for loss, right? So this is the break line. So it's breaks 2 lines for me. And let me see, just add, this is, wait, okay, so this is actually, the text is already here, sorry. So this is additional line that appears for losses, right? So what I can do is that I can put this over here, and then now I can actually add this in front of the profit rate. And what this does is that it would have an additional line, right, that appears for losses. So you see that it actually adds that 2 break lines for when it's lost, right? So this is some of the ways that you can add additional context to your tooltips, right? The next one I want to show you is text wrapping, right? So by default, text wrapping only is allowed if it's a dimension of a label of the chart, but if it's, sorry, not label, the dimension name. If it's a label, you can see that this doesn't wrap, right? It just goes on and on and on, right? There are a couple of ways to do it, but this technique is actually from the Flarage twins. And what they have done is actually having a name breakage. So they added a calculated field, let me see, which is here, right? I will drop the link to you guys. I'll drop it to the co-leaders as well so they can pass it on to you. But basically, it's a whole entire string that word for word copied from the Flarage twins. But this allows you to break based on some parameters that you create. So over here, I have a text wrap length, right? So this is 40 characters. And what this does is every time it reaches the 40, it breaks it to a second line, right? So now if we have this product name split as the text, right? You can see that now after every 40 characters, it breaks it to the second line. So this is how you actually do text wrapping, right? It has a very niche use case, I would say, because often in times we don't want our labels to be that long, but just in case if you need that functionality, this is one way you can go about doing it. And then I come to this is probably my favorite tip for you. And this was from Tableau conference, the session done by Tori and Heidi and the gang. So what this does is that when you have a measure name that you want to change the naming itself. So for example, now I want to change this to profit ratio with a percentage sign. I can change this, but then I can't use this same name for any other measures that I have. And we'll just take profit ratio as an example because I want to show the profit ratio in different formats, right? I want to show it in percentage. I want to show it in actual numbers itself. So now if let me just undo this. I can't actually create one more profit ratio here. So if I try to drop it, you can see that it doesn't work. So what I want to do is you can double click on the profit ratio and you can do a double slash. And I can do this as, maybe I'll just name it as PR for profit ratio. And this is in percentage points, right? And then you can see from here, everything grays out because it's a comment line. So you want to do a shift enter on your keyboard and you hit on up and down button on your arrow keys. You can see that it's actually 2 different lines, right? So you can go ahead and hit Control Enter. You can see that now it changes this aliases to PR percentage, and you can actually drop this new one over here and it registers as, it keeps the original one. But this one, you can see that the format has changed, right? You can go ahead and change this. Let's say, for example, I want to show this as a percentage, right? I can do the same thing for here. I do a double slash PR, maybe number, right? And shift enter. And then you can see that now it's showing as 0. You can go ahead and right click and I change this to 0. Right, let me just take away all of this so it's easier to see. Let me just make this slightly bigger. Right, so you have the percentage and the actual numbers itself. And you can go ahead and create as many as you like, right? So you can even create something like that. You can do a double slash PR in 100 variation. So you can multiply this by 100, right? And you have 3 different formats for the same measures. And you can do this for particularly anything. Like say, for example, this one. I don't want to name this as segment. I don't want to change the original dimension. I can also go ahead and say segment name, right? And you can see that this actually changes this, but it's actually still the same thing. It's the segment. And you can use the old segment as a different one, right? You can see this entire thing. So there's a lot of ways you can do this, and this is by far the most flexible way of doing it. Previously, if you want to do something like that, you have to create multiple measures, but it makes your workbook very hard to follow, especially if you want to maintain it as a dashboard developer. But this would give you a very easy way of going around it and not flood up everything, because all of this alliance tricks only happens in that particular worksheet. So if you go to a different worksheet, it doesn't transfer. So it's localized in this particular sheet. And then the last one that I want to show you is this one. So traditionally for scatter plots, right? Scatter plots, you can only have you can't have borders and the shade itself. So the only way for you to make scatter plots a bit more readable is that you want to reduce the opacity. But you can see that the more opacity that you reduce, it makes it really hard to read because you can't really see where the overlapping points are. And one of the tricks that I like to do for scatter plots is that I want to add a border. So the border only works if you do it as either a square or a circle. So these are the only two options that you have, because they have this option for you to add that border itself. So you can see that you have this border around it, but you can see that the borders only have one color, right? If you change this to red, everything changes to red. If you change this to gray, it changes to everything. But I want to keep the same coloring for the borders, just so that it builds a bit more visual context and hierarchy to it. So one way of doing it is that you want to have this as a, let's see, you want to duplicate the cells, right? And you can see that now, because we have the category as the color, if we change this shape to this one, and I increase the opacity, and you can actually just, where is the dual axis, and synchronize, you can see straight away you have this really nice gradient or a circle with the border, and it keeps with the original color. So this is a very quick way of making sure that your scatter plots are really readable. Do we have an additional 5 minutes to go past? Because I have a really last bonus tip that I want to show everyone. We good to do another 5 minutes? Okay, cool. So this is something that I prepared actually yesterday because I wanted to do something quick for you guys. So this one is something that I did for my work as a kind of like a demo work in progress kind of idea. So what I mean over here of recreating that app feeling is that often in times when you navigate through an app on your phone, there's always kind of like a click for more details, and then it expands to a bigger screen with more details and stuff like that. And especially in the dashboards with a lot of KPIs, you don't want to flood your users too much, right? So one way of doing it is that you want to hide everything within each of the pillars. So for example, now if I click on this, you can see that it expands to a whole array based on that particular metric, and I can just close it and it goes back to the original one. So one way of doing this is through dynamic zone visibility. But you need to have a proper, I would say, organization of your containers. So this is actually where we started. Let me just remove this because this is not required. And then you have this entire two things in a container. So you can imagine that this is a horizontal container. Let me just add a border so you can see, right? So this entire first layer is called a main. And within that main, you actually have two vertical containers, right? So this will be this one. Let me just change the color so you can see red and green, maybe. Right. So you actually have two different containers within that main container. And then what you want to do is, if you go into each of these cards, right? This is a map layer, but you can ignore that. What I actually do here is that I just have a dummy value called expand, right? And then what this does is that I have a parameter, which is a string, that just says collapse or expand, right? And then over here, I have something called a, wait, is it this one? Expand. No, not this one. This is a map layer. I have show cuts expand. So this one actually just says that if the trigger is expand, then I want to expand the cuts. And then you have this one, which is just showing that if it's a collapse, right? So the same expand kind of dummy value is available for each of these cuts. So anytime I click on either one of it would update the parameter into expand, right? So you can go over here and you can see that here I'm just selecting all of the KPI cuts, right? And then I'm transferring that value into that trigger, right? So you see this expand. And then over here, I have this close button, right? So this close button just has a dummy value called collapse, right? And this basically just sets it back to the collapse if you click on it. So over here. So this is just one sheet over here, right? That just changes that original trigger. And then from here, what you want to do is that you can select the entire container. It's easier when you have the containers kind of put everything together. So within this container, you have like additional, like the first row, and then you have like all the different KPI cuts. But it's always good to have everything in one. So then you can actually just control the visibility of the entire group. And then now I can set this to show cuts. I can set this entire thing into show expand. Right? And then now I can click and then it expands. I can click and it closes. So this is a really quick way of recreating that app feeling for your users. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys. Managed to do it in less than 40 minutes. So does anyone have any questions? I know it's a lot to go through.
Yeah, it is actually. Do we have questions? Questions? Okay. I think everyone wanted to digest it first. So thank you so much, Louis. This is really amazing. And you just helped me solve a problem on my dashboard while you were presenting on the annotations. Um, Thank you for that. So if we do not have any questions whatsoever, let's wrap things up. If you can say thank you to Louis and Adrian on the chat session, that would be great. Kenny, yeah. So thank you guys for attending. We will be seeing you guys next month, August. Join us to celebrate Lagos TUG at 1. So by next month, we'll be celebrating 1 year anniversary of Lagos TUG. So if you are here in Nigeria, do well to be part of the community and come have fun with us. So if you're new, like I said, and you want to be a part of the community, you can follow Lagos TUG on X, also known as Twitter, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel known as Lagos TUG. You can join the channel by scanning the QR code and join us to enhance your Tableau skills, collaborate with fellow data enthusiasts, and be part of a vibrant, dynamic group. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. The leaders, if you can turn on your mic, speak, that would be great. I think we have Kenny here. We have GB.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. Thank you
Adrian.
so much, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Do have a
Thank you,
wonderful
guys.
weekend, guys.
Yeah, it's okay, guys.